What's up guys, Matt here from DCLblogger.com, man. Holy crap, what a crazy last 24 to 48 hours. Seeing Bitcoin, I was literally watching this fall in real time on my phone app, right? Binance phone app. I was just watching the order book just like flash crash, and it was crazy to witness. Let me just make sure I'm recording. Yes, I am. It was just crazy to witness, and at the same time, I was watching all the other altcoins and how they were responding, and pretty much the whole market was getting wrecked, right? In fact, it is still wrecked. If you've got a coin market cap and you check out page number 2, page number 1, you just see red 30%, 40%. Some of these are hitting 50% plus almost. Look at that, 50% plus. It's crazy. Like Ethereum almost under 100 USD. In fact, I think it even hit 86 USD on Binance at least. It's been crazy, right? So for me as an investor, quite spread in the crypto realm. I have a bit of Bitcoin, I have a bit of Ethereum, I have some altcoins that I may not 100% believe in, but hey, my money's in there because why the hell not, right? This place is so volatile and you don't know what's going to hit. I've got some money in NFTs, as pretty much everyone knows, in Decentraland specifically, Gods Unchained, a couple of other NFT projects. So for me as an investor, with the bulk of my money in NFTs, I want to know what the hell is going to happen to my NFTs, right? Decentraland, Mana token, how have these reacted? How will it react in the future? What's the game plan going forward for me? And if you guys can chime in and see things in a different light, please share on YouTube or wherever I'm posting this. So what I'm going to do is let's kind of go through how the Mana tokens reacted. Um, the Mana tokens pretty much gotten wrecked just as much as every other altcoin, going down 30%, 40% down in terms of fiat. The crazy thing is, freaking hell, piss off. The crazy thing is that in terms of RSI, if you look at the daily RSI, and look, I'm no regular trader, but I know a little bit of indicators. In terms of RSI, today's drop hasn't been as bad as it's been. It's still a higher kind of a drop, right, on the lower end. So I'm not going to say we're still bullish, but it's not as bad as it could be, and we're still kind of doing a bit of a bounce. But I've got a feeling we're going to drop a little bit more. I mean, Bitcoin hit 4,400 USD, I believe, or maybe even more. Like, what did Bitcoin hit? Let's take a look. 3,782 USD. All right, well, that's pretty crazy. Again, I'm not going to really comment too much in terms of the currencies because it's really not my strong suit. But for me, I go from history, right? Historically, being involved in the NFT space for the last 2.5 years, I have seen certain times when Bitcoin has had pretty bad crashes. Um, the funny thing is that specifically Decentraland, I'm not sure how the other projects have reacted because I don't think there was a project that had that had a cryptocurrency out there that correlated with an NFT project directly that made a difference. But if you look at Mana token in, let's kind of pull up this graph over here. So this is Bitcoin from Jan 2018 to the end of 2018, right? So pretty much October, November. I can kind of extend this a little bit more if I want. And we saw this is basically the start of the dip that we all experienced. We saw a bull run till the end of 2017, and then from 2018 onwards, pretty much all of 2018, there's been a downtrend, both in volume and price and everything in between. So Bitcoin went from 20,000 USD all the way down to 6,000 USD. I think it even hit like 4,000 USD in Jan, Feb. If I keep extending this a little bit. But basically what I wanted to do is show you guys that between this period, so we're at 4,600, 18,000 in the 2018, look at that, 2018, right? So what the hell was Mana doing at this time zone? If you look at Mana, between, let's see, make it Jan 2018 to, yeah, Jan to December 2018, Mana was pretty much trending at 10, 15 cents, 8 cents sometimes, but most of the time it was pretty stable at 10 cents, 8, 9 cents, back to 10 cents. If you look at the green graph specifically, quite stable, even though Bitcoin has been going down. Like Bitcoin went down from 18K to 4K, right? But Mana stayed quite still. Didn't really move too much, and I don't know exactly why. Maybe because Decentraland were consistently putting out auctions. They had a couple of land auctions. They had a couple of really big partnerships to sustain that momentum. But my theory is, and correct me if you feel this is wrong or you've seen things play out in a different way, but when Bitcoin spikes up, and we've all kind of seen this, when Bitcoin spikes up, it pretty much takes the attention away from all the other projects in the space. So all the crypto, all the altcoins, all the other interesting things that people have been watching for a while, suddenly all the interest goes to Bitcoin. Everyone's watching Bitcoin, and Bitcoin gets all the attention. Suddenly everyone's pumping money on Bitcoin because they want to ride the hype train. That's why Bitcoin went from like 5K to 18K, and during that time we saw a lot of altcoins suffer, right? And yes, the altcoins did end up mooning after Bitcoin did, but I think a part of that is because people love to jump the hype train. When they start to see 20% up, 20% up, 30% up, they want to put their money in there because they want to see that price rise and them get rich from it. And the moment that starts to stagnate a little bit, they see another altcoin start to go up 10, 20%, Bitcoin start going down, they suddenly put their money in that coin. So it's kind of just like a place where people kind of fight, these coins or currencies and projects kind of fight for attention. So when Bitcoin's been going down, I think like when it started to reach like 6,000, 4,000, a lot of people in the space were kind of giving more attention to their other projects, especially Decentraland. I can see that in Decentraland, I can see like a lot of, yes, you can see it went up quite a lot in terms of Satoshis, right? Like if you see, it went up to, in some cases, 2,000 Satoshi. It rose quite a bit in terms of Bitcoin value. So I think a lot of people were like, oh well, Mana land is going up, Mana's going up, Bitcoin's kind of down at 6K, 4K. Let's kind of look at Mana. Let's look at land and Decentraland. That's why I think that during this time we saw a lot of activity in Decentraland. So when Bitcoin started to go up in the last year or so, you saw the kind of opposite happen, right? So if you see this area here, so 2019, kind of let's do the same thing over here. When Bitcoin started to go up, so start of 2019, you started to see a bit of upward momentum and pretty much did the opposite. It went from 4K all the way up to 11 to 12,000 USD, right? And what did Bitcoin do? Went down. So if you look at the green graph, went from 10 cents, kind of went all the way down to 3.5 cents, 4 cents, whatever. Back to 6 cents, now back to 3 cents. Now, as you know, it's like 2 cents. But as Bitcoin has gone up, the other altcoins have done the opposite. So looking at that sort of history, and maybe I'm seeing this not as objective as I need to be, and maybe because I'm a little bit biased and I can't get that biasness out of my view, because I do have Decentraland investments and I have investments in other altcoins. But for me, it seems that the attention, I'm kind of happy that attention goes away from Bitcoin. I just bought a kitten, so it's kind of jumping around, scratching things and falling off chairs. So excuse me if I look around. But you're gonna, I've noticed, these altcoins really start to flourish when the attention gets taken away from Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin starts to go from like back, 18K, 10K to 6K, 5,000, there's not really that many people watching it. And, some other altcoin comes in the spectrum and suddenly goes up 20, 30%. Everyone starts to see what's going on there. So I think right now, if the NFT projects and these other altcoin projects really start to showcase what they have been doing, at the end of the day, Bitcoin really has just the fact that it's a much higher price than everything else to show for it. Yeah, it has some adoption capabilities. Some companies start to adopt Bitcoin, and at the end of the day, currency is its play, but visually doesn't really have anything to show for it, right? But you have all kinds of projects like Decentraland and all these games coming up. For me, I ask myself, what activities of value are people going to continue doing that doesn't really have that much of a monetary gain in terms of and people like to create, right? So that's a sort of value that people get back, creating things and sharing them on their Twitter. And social media plays a big role in kind of validating people's ideas. People like to make a piece of art, share it, and get hundreds of likes. People like to make games and have people post and join and play those games. Whether that people pay for those art or not, and yes, paying for them is a big industry at the moment, but just generally speaking, people would still continue to make art whether or not they got paid for it, right? People would continue to build on the Decentraland or the Ethereum ecosystem, still kind of pushing the bounds of what's possible with blockchain, right? So that's the question for me, like what areas of creativities are there? And that's why the NFT space as a platform, especially the platform type of projects, Super Rare or Decentraland, you can see like people keep building things. Like all of these people are going to continue to make awesome things and share them. Um, and the cool thing about Twitter is it just kind of amplifies what people build. So the NFT community is relatively small, but when something cool comes up and people share it, you got like 85 likes, 25 retweets. It starts to reach. Like I made this about the art piece that's sold, and a lot of other people have made articles about this piece. So I shared this about the meetup that we had, 40 likes. People like to kind of engage and like and retweet and get involved in these types of creativity. Like people like to join up and have social events. So whether or not money is involved or whatever the crypto industry continues to do, my question for what I've invested in is what's going to keep growing, right? Um, you can see with OpenSea, people are continuing to buy assets. Decentraland's kind of dropped off a little bit because, it's land is bought by Mana, and that's dropped a lot compared to Ethereum over the last day or two. So we've kind of fallen off quite a bit. Crypto voxels jumped right back at the top again. So awesome to see that. But this chart will continue to be there. MetaZone will continue to make really awesome games and projects for Decentraland. Um, this kind of zombie games kind of coming out soon. Super Rare again. These guys are going to continue to make art pieces and share them amongst the Twitter community and grow their channels. Like these marketing channels. Oh my God, that's amazing. These marketing channels are going to continue to grow, and that's what I mean. Like this ecosystem, especially in the NFT space that I've invested quite a lot of money in, I kind of feel safe there because I know that ecosystem is going to continue to grow. And it's going to provide more value. So once attention comes back to this, it's going to be a lot more amplified than it is currently. You've got like DeFi and all these really cool applications coming up, and if these start to show some really sick momentum and really start to show the cryptocurrency space that they're strong and here to stay, not just financially, but in terms of visibility, visually, they make them some strong partnerships like Samsung, or they start to cement themselves, maybe they get like Atari on board or something, start to really cement themselves in positioning. I think at this stage when Bitcoin's gone down this hard, 5,000 USD, maybe even 4,000 USD, these will start to show a bit of positive momentum. So historically, what I'm trying to say is that Mana survived this. Decentraland has survived a pretty harsh downturn from 20,000 USD to 3,000 USD. So now going from 9,000 to 4,000, yeah, it's kind of happened before in terms of Decentraland. Mana token's taken a hit, but over time, we have a project. I believe we have a project that's so interesting. Visually, things are being built that this is the Decentraland roadmap, and you can see that there's going to be a friends list, a website redesign, street names added, NFT badges for achievements. You're going to get different NFTs within Decentraland, world maps and featured events. You're going to have another land auction coming up. You're going to have VR coming up, mobile coming up, streaming audio and video, multiplayer scoreboards. You're going to have multiplayer functionalities, token swapping in-game, fiat on-ramps in-game so people can pay in fiat, SDK improvements. We've got like all these things in the roadmap. Another creator contest, probably going to have a few different creator contests. Guilds and groups, you're going to be able to make a DAO group and a team that you can compete in multiplayer games within Decentraland. Chat, it's going to be better. They're going to even launch a standalone client, so all the lag issues are going to go away. All these things are happening for Decentraland. So visually, projects like Decentraland or whatever else is out there that's making really serious strides forward, I think they're really going to start to show application-wise they are way more interesting than anything else out there in terms of just being a currency. Currency, yeah, it's interesting because it's going to revolutionize the world one day, hopefully. But in terms of visually and right now, if you take a snapshot, what's really showing its worth? And hopefully within the next 3 to 6 months, these projects will start to flourish and show that they've got so much to show for themselves. So I'm kind of happy that Bitcoin's taken a hit, and I kind of feel good when Bitcoin stays between 4 to 8K. It's it's kind of been a safe range for these ecosystems to develop without too much hype being taken away from them. Because suddenly all the people start to disappear from these NFT projects and start to watch and throw their money at Bitcoin, right? But the more Bitcoin kind of stays out of the picture, the better for these projects that are there to just keep building and have that attention to keep that building momentum there. So I think what's going to happen is, because historically we've kind of survived, we've done well, and the land markets continue to sell. At the end of the day, look, if you check out the land market, let's take a look. Have we had some sales recently? Yes, we have 35,000 mana for this one. I will add though that you know, when these dips and highs happen, you do see some people accept some very low bids because some people are scared. This individual land parcels connected to road historically could easily sell these for 15,000 mana a piece, right? 15, 30, 45,000 mana. This one seemed to have sold for 35,000 mana for all three of them. So there could have been a bid that got accepted. If you go back to this, 18,000 mana for this, which is a pretty good deal. We have 16,000 mana for a land connected to the Decentraland sign, which is again a pretty good deal relatively. It's like 20,000 mana. This one's pretty average, 16,500 mana. But all of these 4 or 5 sales have happened today. Even this sale happened last night, right? At the end in the evening. We've still seen sales. Names are selling every now and then. Yeah, we have reduced volume, but there's still activity. There's still buy activity so far. And at the end of the day, like, mana is so much cheaper that when that momentum kicks up again, and when Decentraland makes strong partnerships or whatever they have in the pipeline coming forward, and they announce those things, because visually the project is there to view and see what it could be, regardless of the price of Bitcoin, I think it'll still have a strong future. So that's my kind of take on things, and maybe I'm just way more optimistic than I need to be. Maybe a lot of other people seem to be taking this pretty seriously and saying that this thing's never really happened in the history of Bitcoin, and you know, maybe it hasn't, but I've been part of some flash crashes, and I've seen Bitcoin mana, you know, take a hit, recover, and historically I've felt it's been a safe investment. I'd only be having an issue if I don't know, Bitcoin goes to 0 or something, and I don't think that will happen. But at the end of the day, these altcoins, especially the NFT projects, which are visually doing something, especially those that are well funded. So yeah, I will have issues if I feel like funding problems are there. But the projects that we know are well funded, I feel will continue to build on top of, will continue to grow regardless of the price of Bitcoin. So what it will do is probably give a bit more of a setback, but at the end of the day, the building ecosystem is still there and will continue to push forward. Just like how I'm making this video, and people are still going to make videos and grow their user base and keep putting out content out there, that this space will continue to grow. Maybe not price-wise, but in terms of the ecosystem and followerships and education-wise, it will continue to grow. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it at the moment. Let me know if you got anything to share.